The boy's voice was shaky, his hands trembling as he clutched the old, rusted bicycle. "Please, sir, will you buy my bike? Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days." The man on the Harley froze. His friends, big, tattooed bikers in black leather jackets, looked at each other in silence. The little boy's eyes were red, his face pale from hunger and exhaustion. And in that single moment, the roar of engines and the rush of wind seemed to fade away, leaving only the sound of a child's desperate plea echoing through the quiet afternoon. What the bikers discovered next would change not only that boy's life, but theirs too. Hey everyone, welcome to Whispers of Goodness, where we share true and inspiring stories that remind us that kindness still exists in this world. If you love stories that warm your heart and restore your faith in humanity, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this video. And don't forget to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's story. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon on the outskirts of a small town in Texas. The roads were wide, the fields golden with summer light, and the low rumble of motorcycles filled the air. Jake and his biker group, the Iron Hearts, were out on their weekly ride. They weren't a gang, just a group of friends who loved bikes, barbecues, and the open road. They were rough around the edges, sure, but they had good hearts. After an hour of riding, they pulled over near an old gas station to grab some water and stretch. As they chatted and laughed, a small figure appeared from behind the building, a boy, maybe 9 or 10 years old. He was pushing a faded blue bicycle that looked like it hadn't seen a good day in years. Its tires were almost flat, and the chain squeaked with every turn of the pedals. His clothes were worn and a size too big, and his sneakers had holes in them. He stopped a few feet away, hesitant but determined. "Excuse me, sir," he said softly to Jake, the leader of the group. "Would you like to buy my bike?" Jake turned to him, puzzled. "Buy your bike? Why would I do that, kid?" The boy looked down at the ground. "Because Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days. We don't have any food left." The men went silent. Jake crouched down to the boy's level. "What's your name, son?" "Ivan," the boy said, his voice almost a whisper. Jake nodded gently. "Ivan, where's your mom right now?" "She's home," the boy said. "She told me to stay inside, but I can't let her be hungry anymore. So I came here. Maybe someone will buy my bike." Jake felt a lump in his throat. The other bikers shifted uncomfortably, some looking away. They weren't used to seeing something like this up close. A child desperate enough to sell his only toy just to feed his mom. Jake glanced at his friends, then back at Evan. "Where do you live, buddy?" Evan pointed toward a narrow dirt road leading past the gas station. "Down there, in the old trailer park." Jake stood up and turned to his crew. "Let's go check it out." The group rode slowly down the dusty road, with Evan leading them on his squeaky blue bike. When they reached the trailer park, it was clear that life here was hard. The homes were small and weathered, paint peeling, windows cracked. Children played barefoot in the dirt. Evan stopped in front of a small trailer that looked worse than the rest. The steps were broken, and a tarp covered part of the roof. "This is it," he said. The door opened, and a thin woman stepped out. Her face lit up when she saw Evan, but then turned to confusion when she noticed the bikers behind him. "Ivan, what's going on?" she asked nervously, clutching her worn sweater. "Mom," Ivan said quickly, "these men are nice. I asked them to buy my bike so we can get food." Her eyes widened in shock and embarrassment. "Oh, honey, you shouldn't have." Jake stepped forward, raising a gentle hand. "Mom, we're not here to cause trouble. Your boy came to us asking for help. We just wanted to make sure you're okay." Tears welled in her eyes. We're fine," she said, but her voice cracked halfway through. The bikers knew she wasn't fine. The empty cupboards, the worn-out clothes, the pale faces. It was clear this family was struggling badly. Jake looked around, then turned back to her. "When was the last time you ate?" She hesitated. 2 days ago. I wanted to save what we had for Evan." That hit Jake hard. He had grown up with a single mom too, someone who worked 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. He remembered nights when she pretended she wasn't hungry just so he could eat. "Mom," Jake said gently, "you don't have to do this alone anymore." Within an hour, the bikers had driven to the nearest grocery store. They didn't just buy a few items. They filled 3 carts with food, milk, bread, fruit, canned goods, meat, even a birthday cake for Evan. When they came back, the woman, whose name was Lisa, couldn't stop crying. She tried to refuse the food at first, but Jake placed a hand on her shoulder. "Don't say no to kindness," he said softly. "Just let us help." Ivan's eyes sparkled as he helped carry the groceries inside. He looked up at Jake and whispered, "Thank you, sir. You're like heroes." Jake smiled. "Nah, kid, we're just people who remember what it's like to be hungry." As they sat on the trailer's small porch, sharing cans of soda and slices of cake, Lisa told them her story. Her husband had passed away a year ago in a car accident. Since then, she'd been doing her best to raise Evan alone. She worked at a diner, but when it shut down last month, she lost her only source of income. Bills piled up, the power company cut them off, the food ran out. "I was going to ask the church for help tomorrow," she said, wiping her tears. "But I didn't know how to face anyone." Jake nodded. "You don't ever have to be ashamed for needing help. Sometimes we all need a little kindness to get back on our feet." Lisa smiled weakly. "You have no idea what this means to us." Ivan, munching on a cookie, looked at his mom and said, "See, Mom, I told you someone would help us." But the story didn't end there. A week later, Jake and the Iron Hearts came back, with more than groceries. They brought a handyman from town who offered to fix the broken steps and patch the roof. They brought boxes of clothes, shoes, and even a used laptop for Evan to do his schoolwork. And then they handed Lisa an envelope. Inside was 2,000. Lisa gasped, "What is this?" Jake smiled. "We all chipped in. Figured you could use a little breathing room while you find work again." Lisa covered her face and sobbed. "I don't deserve this," she said between tears. "Sure you do," Jake said. "You've been fighting every day for your boy. That's what real strength looks like." Ivan ran up and hugged Jake's leg. "I'll never forget you guys," he said. Jake ruffled his hair. "Just promise me something, kid." "What?" "When you grow up and you see someone else who needs help, be the first one to step up. Deal?" Ivan grinned. "Deal." Months passed. Lisa found a job at a local bakery. The trailer was repaired, the power restored, and the pantry always full. The bikers still visited from time to time, bringing gifts for Evan and sharing stories on the porch. One afternoon, Jake received a small envelope in the mail. Inside was a photo of Evan holding his bike, now freshly painted red and shiny again. On the back, Evan had written in messy handwriting, "Dear Mr. Jake, thank you for buying my bike without really buying it. I fixed it up. Now I ride it to school every day. Mommy and I are doing great. I'm saving up my allowance to help someone else one day. Love, Evan." The Jake smiled and slipped the photo into his wallet. It stayed there for years, a reminder of how one small act of kindness could ripple farther than anyone could imagine. Kindness doesn't always roar like a Harley on the open road. Sometimes it whispers softly, in the form of a little boy selling his bike, or a stranger choosing to stop and listen. That day, the Iron Hearts learned something powerful. Kindness isn't weakness. It's courage. It's love in action. And it's contagious. So if you ever find yourself in a position to help someone, even in a small way, don't hesitate. You might just be the miracle they've been praying for. Because in the end, what we give comes back to us, multiplied by the lives we touch. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need a little hope today. And don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Goodness for more stories that prove kindness is still alive in our world. Thank you for watching. And remember, even the smallest act of kindness can make the biggest difference.